Hello, it is Zach with a podcast named Tim here with another Star Wars book review. Today it is The High Republic Out of the Shadows, the young adult novel that was released on July 27th, 2021, and written by Justina Ireland. As always, I listened to the audiobook for it, and just want to give my general thoughts. There will be some spoilers ahead. Before we get into the review, please do give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of the other Star Wars related content and all the other wonderful things we do. So overall, before I get into spoilers and discussions, I think of the four novels that I have read for the High Republic, the two main adult novels and the two young adult novels, I thought this was the weakest. Not bad, just not as good as the other ones. And I think part of it might be the pacing. I thought it felt really long, especially for a young adult novel. And I think it got into some of the minutia of science that I don't really care for in science, or in Star Wars. And Star Wars obviously is science fiction, but to me, it's always at its best when it is, the Jedi and the Sith, and that moral dilemma of good versus evil. Some of the more fantastical natures of it are better. And I wasn't a big fan of Catalyst, which again got into a lot of very heavy, to me, science. And this was a lot of heavy science regarding the how hyperspace works and hyperspace trade routes and stuff. And I just find that some very not as interesting. Also, I was a little let down. Reese Silas was on the cover. He probably is one of my favorite characters of the High Republic, and I didn't think they gave him enough to do. It's mainly focused on Sylvestra Yarrow, and I would say from the Jedi side, it is mainly focused on Vernestra Rowe, who Vernestra is definitely has had a lot to do. She's been given, I think she's been in just about every book they've done so far. But basically, the general plot of the book. And I should say, I also thought that the main villains took a backseat, and we'll get into that here in a minute. But basically, Sylvestri, I believe it is pulled out of hyperspace. She's on a spaceship. She's like a hauler. Her mother recently passed away, and now she's hauling goods. She's pulled out of space. There's by what she believes is the Nile. And basically she goes to Coruscant to report it. When she is there, she runs into a member of the Graft family, which are rivals of the Santeca family. Basically, they were the two big families that went out and charted all of the hyperspace lanes that are now in use. And this person basically says, hey, I'll hook you up with a ship, and you just got to, tell Senator Santeca, who obviously is a rival of his, what I want you to tell them as far as there not being any issues in this area, because we want to take control of the lease of this plot of space and, hook it with a ship. Of course, he backstabs her several times, and it's kind of obvious in some respects that he's going to backstab her. But in the end, we find out that the Graff family has been working with and supporting the Nile in some capacity. And the Nile are in this book. The Dringar are not at all, if I remember correctly. But the Nile are in it. But it's not really a Marchion Rowe book. He makes a very brief appearance to kind of tell Nan from the other young adult novel. He basically puts her on a ship with a scientist and Marie Santeca, and of course one of Rowe's lieutenants. They are the main focus, but to me it was weird that Rowe would lend out Marie Santeca, who is his bread and butter, because obviously bad things can happen, and bad things do happen. She's no more. But we also find out Sylvester Rowe, she had a relationship with a Santeca family member, Giordano, I believe her name is, who I'm trying to think of anything interesting of note. She's on a planet and she's kind of like battling there. There's a lot of battles that have been going on kind of on the frontier, and she's upset with the Jedi for not really showing up. But and then we find out her mom is alive, and she has actually been helping the Nile build this weapon. And basically, this weapon it pulls people out of hyperspace. That's the big weapon we have here. It plotted along. I don't know. I wasn't interested in the main character, I guess would be the main thing. Sylvester Yarrow didn't really do much for me. Xylan Graft and his beef with the Santecas I wasn't interested in. I think those are just the main things. It's just given that we just finished what was it, Into the Light or whatever the last I keep confusing all of the High Republic book names, but the one that we just finished, that just came out right before this, the adult novel, the fact that we had this big attack at the festival, and all all of the mayhem of that book to shift to this. And I know we need to breathe sometimes and do different little things, but I don't know. It was a big shift for me. I was just more interested in continuing that main story arc, and this felt more like a side venture. We do have one interesting hook, I guess we should say, which is we find out in this book that Vernestra has been having like visions that she can't really control whenever she's been having them her whole life, and especially when she's in hyperspace. And basically, she gets a vision of Mari Santeca. They meet up, and Mari Santeca gives her one last path, a place that no one is supposed to ever go, basically in the outer edges of space. And Vernestra decides not to tell the Jedi Council about this path. And so we have an unknown location of, I would assume, evil or something of cosmic consequence, that one of the main kind of Jedi, I don't want to say chosen ones, but kind of like the model Jedi. I mean, she's a young knight. She's kind of a model, like that version of what their order strives to be, has chosen to hide this information from the council. And that's interesting. And I look forward to exploring not only wherever that path leads, but the results and the fallout from Vernestra hiding this information. So that's that little hook is interesting. I thought that the last book, again, the last adult novel that came out, did such a good job of propping up and pumping up and making the Nile such a really interesting and good thread. I actually think it did it the best. And I just thought this one was a big step back, just because I didn't understand their motivations, and they weren't really in it that much, and just The Rising Storm was the last one. So yeah, that just I don't know. I know a lot of people probably like it. It wasn't poorly written or anything. It did, like I said, go a little slow at times, but I don't know. Not my favorite. Not bad, but I'd say 3 out of 5. So those are my thoughts on Star Wars, the High Republic, Out of the Shadows. Let me know your thoughts. Of course, I am going to be Tempest Runner comes out today, and I'm going to be reviewing that, or reading that, or audio listening, and then reviewing that. And I am actually reading Star Wars Dark Apprentice from Legends. So both of those will be coming here soon. Thank you for checking out this video, and let me know your thoughts on the book. If there's something that, I could be entirely wrong and have missed something that made this the best Star Wars novel to come out of the High Republic. But I'd love to hear your thoughts. And do you have any predictions on what the planet is? Exegol makes sense to me, but I don't know. That's the only thing that came to mind, because I know, Star Wars likes to make their small universe connect. And I can see the potential of retconning, or not retconning, but we got to start building up the sequel trilogy with back information to heighten its view in the eyes of a lot of Star Wars fans. They did the same thing with the prequels. They started backfilling things and making it more interesting, and so I think maybe they'll be doing it here again. So again, that's my thoughts. See you next time here on a podcast named Tim.